The copper kettle buzzed with warmth that Friday evening, filled with the chatter of families and the soft clinking of cutlery against plates. The aroma of garlic bread and caramelized onions floated through the air as Dawson sat in his usual corner booth with his 7-year-old son, Levi. The boy was engrossed in coloring a dinosaur on his kid's menu, his tongue sticking out slightly in concentration. Collins smiled as he watched him. These quiet dinners were his favorite part of the week. But just as he reached for his glass of water, a sharp, cutting voice broke through the calm hum of the restaurant. "You've got to be kidding me," a man nearby said loudly, his tone dripping with disgust. Collins looked up instinctively. At the table across the aisle sat a young woman with soft blonde hair, her nervous smile fading as the man in front of her leaned back, crossing his arms. She was seated in a wheelchair, dressed in a blue dress that matched her shy, hopeful eyes. "Rachel didn't mention this," the man muttered, gesturing toward her chair like it was something offensive. "I'm an active guy, I run, I hike. I need someone who can keep up. Someone normal." The woman blinked, her voice trembling. "I'm not incomplete," she whispered, trying to hold her composure. "I'm just," but he cut her off cruelly. "You're not enough." The words hit like a slap, silencing the restaurant. He tossed a few bills on the table and walked out, leaving her sitting there alone, her eyes glassy with unshed tears. For a moment, no one moved. People looked away awkwardly, pretending not to have heard. Collins felt a tightness in his chest as he glanced at Levi, who was frowning. "Dad," he whispered, "why did that man say those mean things? The lady didn't do anything wrong." Collins's heart ached at his son's innocence. He had spent years as a physical therapist helping people rebuild their lives after accidents, people who had been told they were less. Not tonight, he decided. Not here. He stood, took a steadying breath, and walked toward the woman's table. "Excuse me," he said gently. "I'm Collins, and that's my son, Levi. We couldn't help overhearing, and I just wanted you to know, that man was wrong. You're not incomplete. You deserve better than that." When she looked up at him, her eyes were filled with pain and disbelief, but also, for the first time that night, a flicker of hope. Tiffany hesitated for a long moment before she finally nodded, her trembling fingers brushing a tear from her cheek. "Okay," she whispered. "Thank you." Collins smiled warmly, gesturing toward his booth. As she wheeled beside him, the other diners pretended not to stare, but their gazes softened now, curiosity replacing judgment. Levi's face lit up when she arrived. "Hi. I'm Levi," he said proudly. "I'm 7 3/4. That man was really mean to you. I'm sorry. Do you like dinosaurs?" Tiffany blinked, startled, and then let out a small, genuine laugh. The first since her humiliation. "I do like dinosaurs," she said softly. "What's your favorite?" "Ankylosaurus," Levi declared without hesitation. "It's tough and has armor, so it can protect itself. Kind of like you." His words made her smile, fragile yet sincere, and even Collins felt something shift in the air, a warmth growing between them that neither of them had expected. As dinner went on, Tiffany's nervousness began to fade. She laughed at Levi's endless stories about volcano projects and prehistoric creatures, and Collins watched her with admiration. She had come into that restaurant ready for romance and had been met with cruelty, yet she carried herself with such quiet strength. When Levi asked about her wheelchair, she didn't flinch or look away. "I was a swimmer," she explained gently. "I was training for the Olympics, but during one practice dive, I hit my head on the bottom of the pool. My spine was injured, and my legs don't work like they used to." Levi's brow furrowed with concern. "Does it hurt?" "Sometimes," she admitted, smiling faintly. "But I still swim, just differently. I also paint and design things on my computer. My life looks different now, but it's still mine." Collins felt something stir in his chest as he listened, admiration, respect, maybe something deeper. When Levi began to yawn into his mac and cheese, Collins knew it was time to go. Still, he didn't want the night to end. "Tiffany," he said gently, "I know tonight didn't go how you hoped, but I'd like to see you again, properly, as a real date." Her blue eyes searched his, cautious. "Why?" she asked quietly. "Because you feel sorry for me?" Collins shook his head. "No. Because you're kind, brave, and funny. And because when you smile, the whole room feels lighter." For the first time in a long time, Tiffany believed him. She smiled, and said yes. In the weeks that followed, what began as a simple act of kindness blossomed into something neither Collins nor Tiffany had expected. Their days became entwined in small, beautiful ways: text messages over morning coffee, laughter-filled phone calls late into the night, and weekends spent together with Levi, who quickly decided Tiffany was his best friend. Collins found himself drawn to her resilience. Tiffany didn't dwell on what she'd lost, instead, she focused on what she could still do. She joined him and Levi on park walks, her chair moving smoothly beside them, and she always made sure to pack extra snacks for Levi, who never stopped asking questions. One afternoon, as she watched Collins help his son build a paper volcano, she smiled. "You're a really good dad," she said softly. Collins glanced up, his eyes warm. "I'm trying," he replied. "But you're the reason he's happier these days. You've brought something into our lives I didn't realize was missing." Tiffany looked away quickly, her cheeks flushing with emotion she didn't want to name just yet. They fell into a rhythm. Sunday pancake mornings, movie nights, and evenings where Tiffany would teach Levi to draw dinosaurs while Collins cooked. When she teased him about his burnt spaghetti, he only laughed and said, "I was surviving on takeout before you came along." For the first time since her accident, Tiffany felt at home in someone's world. Yet there were still difficult moments. Some nights, pain radiated through her body, leaving her trembling and exhausted. Collins would hold her gently, his hand steadying hers until the tremors eased. "You don't have to be strong all the time," he'd whisper. "You're allowed to lean on someone." And she did. Slowly, completely. Collins found himself changing, too. He began noticing ramps, uneven sidewalks, and restaurants without accessibility features. He started writing letters to local businesses, quietly fighting for the kind of world Tiffany deserved. She called him stubborn. He called it love. One quiet Tuesday evening, while washing dishes together, Collins turned to her and said softly, "I love you." Tiffany froze, then turned with tears in her eyes. "You mean that?" "Every word," he said, smiling. "I've loved you since the moment you laughed at my son's dinosaur jokes." Tiffany's voice broke as she whispered back, "I love you too. You made me believe again, that I could be loved, exactly as I am." A year had passed since that unforgettable night at the Copper Kettle, the evening that changed 3 lives forever. Now, the spring sun shimmered over Discovery Park, casting golden light across the water. Collins stood beside Tiffany's wheelchair, his heart pounding as Levi played nearby, collecting seashells and humming to himself. "It's beautiful here," Tiffany said softly, gazing at the waves. "I love this spot." Collins smiled, his throat tight. "So do I," he murmured, then dropped to one knee beside her chair. "Tiffany, a year ago, I watched a man tell you that you weren't enough. And I've spent every day since trying to prove how wrong he was." Her breath caught as tears welled in her eyes. "You're strong, funny, kind, you've made Levi's life brighter, and you've made mine whole. You're not incomplete, Tiffany. You're everything." When he opened the small velvet box, her hand flew to her mouth. "Will you marry me?" he asked, voice trembling with emotion. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she whispered, "Yes, Collins. 1,000 times yes." Levi came running, cheering, and threw himself into their arms as laughter and joy filled the air. That summer, they were married by the water at Golden Gardens Park. Tiffany wore a simple white dress, her blonde hair braided with wildflowers, her wheelchair decorated with ribbons that fluttered in the breeze. Levi, beaming in his little suit, served as the proud ring-bearer, though he couldn't resist showing guests his dinosaur toy midway down the aisle. When the officiant asked if anyone objected, Levi shouted, "I object to waiting. Can they kiss already?" The crowd erupted in laughter, and Tiffany's heart overflowed with love. As Collins kissed her, the world felt still, like everything broken had finally been made right. 2 years later, their family thrived in a cozy home designed for accessibility, wide doorways, smooth floors, and a kitchen where Tiffany could work easily. She ran a growing design business, while Collins continued helping patients rebuild their strength at the rehabilitation center. Levi, now 9, had started an ability awareness club at school, proudly telling everyone deserves to be included, like my mom. On quiet Saturday mornings, Tiffany and Levi cooked dinosaur-shaped pancakes while Collins watched them, his heart full. As laughter filled the house, he realized that one act of kindness had led him home. They weren't broken, they were complete.